I'm gonna share my garden in this video. This whole property is my garden, or the garden of my wife and I. And it's taken about 20 years or more of work, off and on. All right, here we go. I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna show you some welding projects after that. All right, so here we go. That azalea that I just showed you has never looked better. There was a period when there wasn't enough sun in the front. But now that there's more sun in the front, it's doing really good. It's been a great year for the garden. We've had lots of rain. Really cool nights. And now it's starting to warm up more in the 70s, so the grass is a lot happier. Once it hits 70, the grass just takes off. All right, so that's the garden. That's the back garden, where Susie does a lot of the work. Most of what's in there is perennials. And then Susie will go and buy annuals. And you can see the annuals really, if you really look along the edge, the closest edge there, you can just see them everywhere. And then she also has, I think she said something like 40 potatoes along the back edge of the garden, and at least 20 plus onions, a little bit to the left of that hose reel, in the lower garden, in the lower part. You can kind of see them sprouting up there. But we have peonies that are just about to bloom, and columbines that are blooming, and irises, and bachelor buttons. And the hummingbirds just go crazy. So it's been a great hummingbird year. I bought 4 new feeders, 11 of those new feeders. And the real reason why I wanted to come up here was because I need to blow the debris off the skylights, the vents, and any transitions on the roof. Because I found that if you leave little piles of organic matter on your roof, that it just keeps the moisture there, and I think it can wreak havoc on the roof deck. So I blow all that stuff off now. All right, so I'm gonna cut now, and then I'll show you some welding projects. All right, it's a little later in the day, and I'm back. Earlier I said that we had been working on the yard for 20 years, but it's actually been 27 years. So slowly but surely. All right, but anyway, I want to show a couple of my welding projects that I've done. And this is a Harbor Freight cement mixer that is a really good deal. I think it's under $200. I think I paid like closer to like 150 or 140. I don't know, something really ridiculously low. And I made 3 improvements to it. The first thing I did was I welded this box right here together. Normally the legs would bolt to this part, and what I did was I elongated it with this. And this was one of my first welding projects ever done with the with gasless flux core welding on a Hobart, on my Hobart handler. I think it's like the 210 or something like that. So this is awesome, because what it does is the combination of that and replacing the wheels. I put bigger wheels on it. I think those are 10 or 13 inch wheels, but they're much bigger than the wheels that come with it, so it raises it off the ground. So the wheels raise it off the ground higher than the original wheels, and that block moves the wheels further away from, and this is the reason why I did it, is because when you lower the tub to dump your batch, now there's more room for the wheelbarrow to go underneath the cement mixer. So the wheelbarrow can fit underneath the cement mixer because the cement mixer is higher and the wheels are further away. So you can get the wheelbarrow right in there and then dump out your load right in. And it really didn't take that long. It's just, this block here is literally just, it's whatever the dimensions are for here, you know, so you can get the 2 bolts in, and it's just an extender. It's not rocket science. And the new wheels, I just held on with these little shaft collars. And what did I do? Oh yeah, what I did was, I believe I just used a piece of plain rod and put that through the pipe here, the axle, the pipe that was already acting as the thing, and then put the wheels on. But it's pretty simple. And then I took the old handle off and I added this handle right here for carrying around. I put a couple of blocks underneath the front just to raise it up. So that was one welding project. And then this here is really nice. This is a sulky that I made that is a more recent project. In this, I TIG welded the entire thing. And this pipe is, I believe, 1.5 inch Schedule 40 pipe that you just buy at the Home Depot. And then for the elbow, I bought off Amazon. It was cheaper to buy it was only like $10 to buy a stainless steel elbow. And it would have been a lot more to buy just one steel elbow. So I used 309L filler rod to weld between the stainless and the regular carbon steel. And then there's another piece of carbon steel down here. And then inside of this stem is one of these coupling nuts. And this whole thing pivots on those 2 bolts that are welded together at a 90-degree angle. and I used the pivot that I had used on my old sulky, but you know, I remade all this. But the pivot that's on the mower is the one that I had used on the old sulky. But this entire setup here is really an improvement over the old sulky. And it's just fantastic. It feels like I have a superpower being able to weld. It's just amazing because it's just so strong compared to wood. And these are no flat tires that I got. I think that was the most expensive part. I think I probably spent more on the wheels. The wheels probably cost $90. But they have really nice roller bearing, you know, like roller cage bearings. So it's the kind of bearings that the bearings run the entire length of like the axle, and then there's a sleeve. I welded that bolt on, but then there's also a sleeve that goes on top of the bolt, and then that sleeve fits inside of those caged bearings, and it's really nice. And it has grease fittings on it, so it rolls really nice. And because the wheels aren't captured by any fenders, they don't get clogged. I had a one-wheeled sulky on here, and it would always get clogged. And then another welding project I did was this entire mechanism right here I made. This is the clutch for the blade engagement, and I came up with this setup. It works really good. It would take a whole video just to go over it though, because it comes down to a wire, and then there's a thing called the bell crank that I made, and that's so that this control arm here can pull the other one at 90 degrees to itself. And then it comes in here, and what that's controlling the tension on the spring. So if I pull on that lever up there, it puts a whole bunch of tension on that spring, which releases the pressure off the belts, which spin the blades on this thing. And so it's basically like a clutch. It's a manual clutch, and when I release that arm, and it's in the position right now, that spring is pulling the belt tight. I can show you. Let's see. You can see how it pulls that. That was a huge improvement over the electronic clutch that I had previously in this, which I just found, I mean, when it worked, but when it didn't, it was just really frustrating. So, but yeah, this little cart right here is probably one of the best things I've ever done for myself. It's one of the biggest improvements to working in my yard, you know, that I think I've ever made. Originally, this right here was my sulky. So that was the sulky I was running on it, and as you can see, it only has the one wheel, and it's caged in a fender. Now, that's great because it protects your ankles and everything from getting chewed up, but it puts all the weight into one spot where, you know, the two-wheel one spreads the weight out to two wheels. That center part gets filled with leaves and gets clogged, and then you end up it takes, you know, half an hour to clear out all the leaves out of there and everything, all the mud. and it pivots a lot more. The one wheel thing pivots back and forth, left to right, and so it's more of a, you know, it's more of an engaged ride. It's not as relaxing. The two-wheeled sulky is definitely more relaxing. So yeah, that was a good improvement. All right, and I'm going to show you one more welding project I'm working on. We're going to go in the other room for that. All right, let's see. Let's see if this works or not. Right now, I just have the camera pinned between my pipe staging that's leaning up against the deck. So we'll see if it falls off before I finish this thing. Or before I move this thing inside. All right. All right, pretty good. All right, I'll show a little bit of I'll show the backyard, or coming out of my shed. And boy, it just, you know what I mean? This is a nice year, huh? Look at it, just looks gorgeous. I'm really happy. This is his garden. Coming in, look at, she's got her potatoes right on the edge here. We got plenty of potatoes. We got the irises coming up now. We got the columbines. It's just gonna be gorgeous. Yeah. And we got our peonies. Oh man. They're really mature peonies too. I mean, we planted those a while ago, so. The oldest group is that left one. And then this one, and then this is the next one, you can tell. But when they get mature, boy, are they just incredible. And then she has her onions. We got your onions covered. I think she's got some peppers in here somewhere too. But it's just gorgeous. These are things I introduced in the steps here. I think these are like a kind of sedum throughout their different varieties. I think these are chives. Yes, I believe I'm correct. We have them all over the place. Oh yes, and money plants. All right, here's the latest project I was working on welding. And this is for mounting a fan to a wall. And it's gonna pivot inside of that. And that was one of the welds that I was really happy with. And then that weld I was pretty happy with. And that was my first welding this piece of 1/4 inch bar on was my first weld, and you can see it wasn't beautiful. But I can grind that out so it looks good. That's not a problem. But what I learned on that, you can't have the fan on. I had a fan on me because it was hot, and I forgot about it. I have an exhaust fan that I leave on all the time when I'm welding, but I also left this fan on. And I was sitting here welding at the bench, and I noticed that it was welding like crap. So, you know, like lots of porosity and just like sooty crap. So I'm like, oh Jesus, what the hell's going on? And it was the fan. The fan was blowing my gas off the weld. So then what I did was I went in with a grinder, and I think this is probably the second weld I did, and this was the first. And so I think this is the one that I went over. As you can see, it's thick. So what I did was, the first time I welded it, it looked really bad because the gas got blown away. Then I figured that out. So then I went over it again after I took the grinder and ground out some of the nasty stuff. So that's why it's just thicker. So this isn't as pretty. But then, you know, I come over here and I don't have a light on it right now. But I did those 2 welds that I already showed you when I had the flashlight on, and they came out really good. The lesson I learned, probably good idea to maybe do a couple of welds before you start welding. You know, take a piece of scrap and weld. I'll probably do that next time. You know, set up a couple of welds or set up a weld that's kind of similar to what you're gonna do. And that bracket, will be used for this fan head that I bought from Northern Tool. And it's an oscillating fan head. With a it has 3 speeds. So what I'll do is I'll make a switch plate for it too. And I ordered a timer. So the wire will go into the timer, and then into this, and then to the fan. And this is what the cage looks like. So what I'll do, another thing I'm gonna do is weld some steel that fits in here that has a stem coming out the bottom, and that stem will fit inside of that pipe, and then I can mount the whole thing on the wall. And that's a project I'll show when I finish. All right.